Okay, so here's the deal, guys. As you can see, we have a live studio audience member. Her name is Maggie. She's gonna just sit here and vibe and go to sleep because she's a good dog, and she's a fluffy dog. And anyway, before I get into the video, I would like for you guys to go in the description, go follow my gaming channel, go follow my Twitch channel, and please follow this channel as well because I'm gonna try to put out as much content as I can. Um, so yeah, and probably by the time this video goes up on to this main channel, I will probably be streaming on Twitch. I stream at 8:30 Pacific time. Is that? I think that's California time. Um, like basically 8:30 California time. I'll start streaming, and yeah. Anyway, so this is the story of how I became a stroke survivor at the age, or the ripe old age of 23. So, to get started, this starts a few days before Memorial Day of 2020. And this is around the time I graduated, so I'm, celebrating with my family. We're all in the backyard, trying to be safe in this pandemonium. It's just a few of us at a time. But we're celebrating, we're drinking, we're having a good time. And for the next few days, I, start getting headaches and all of this, and I'm just, brushing it off as if, it's hangovers and all of that. So I just brush it off, like I said. And then Memorial Day happens, and my arm slowly but surely starts to go numb. Like it's tingly, it doesn't feel good. It's almost like somebody put I don't know, like some sort of numbing agent, like anesthetic, in my arm for some reason. Um, and I go to my mom. I'm like, "Hey, my arm is numb. What do I do?" And she's like, It's probably fine." So I just brush it off again, and then it starts going away. And I'm like, "Okay, this is great." And then my face starts going numb, the left side of my face, and I'm like, "Well, crap." And then I go to my mom, tell her again. She's like, "Oh, again, it's probably fine. You're probably okay." And then, it's basically like a back and forth thing between my arm and my face going numb. And this happens all day. And then I start getting nauseous. And I'm like, "Well, crap. Here we go." And we end up finally going to the ER. They don't think anything of it because by the time I get there, the numbness completely subsides. I'm no longer getting numb or tingly or anything weird in the left side of my body. And so they just gave me an IV bag to hydrate me and some painkillers. And that's it. And then they just send me home when the painkillers are all done. So by that time I get home, I'm going to sleep. I wake up, everything's fine, everything's normal, just headaches. And then this continues for a month, just severe migraines for a month. And then it was literally on Father's Day that I wake up at 4 a.m. and my arm is completely numb, like more numb than it was before. Like if I close my eyes, I cannot tell you where in space my arm is. Like I can hold it out, close my eyes, and I cannot and move it a little bit, and I cannot tell you where my left arm was in relation to my body. So I immediately go to my mom at 4 a.m. and say, "Hey mom, my arm is completely numb. I need to go to the ER." And she's like, "Can you wait?" I'm like, "Probably not, but I'll wait for you." And she's like, "Okay." And she pats her bed and she's like, "Can you come and sleep in this giant bed with me because I'm worried about you now?" And I'm like, "Okay." And anyway, we end up going to the ER, to a different hospital um, later um, later in the day, like around 8 in the morning, and let my mom sleep. Anyway, get there, and they're like, "Yeah, you're probably having a stroke right now. You also have hyperthyroidism." And I'm like, "What? What? How do those relate?" And they're like, "We don't know yet." And got to the point where they couldn't really do much more for me. There was no like in this ER, there was nothing that they can do in terms of like, neuro ward or anything like that. There was nothing like that. So they had to just send me home. They didn't transfer me to another hospital, and it was a whatever kind of thing. So that was a bad thing because they just kept progressively getting worse the second I got to the hospital. Like it kept getting worse and worse and worse. I could not move, and then I get home. My fiance comes over, and he just sits there and watches me as I'm passing out. And luckily, he decided to stay the night because, dude, it was so bad. It kept getting worse and worse and worse for me. I got to the point where I couldn't even feel my arm or my leg or my face or anything on the left side of my body. And yeah, so then the next day, that Monday, because I don't know if I said it was Father's Day, but it was Father's Day that I woke up, had all that, and then so the next day, so that Monday, we end up going to another ER. This is hospital number 3, by the way. We go to the ER, and luckily I got there because by the time I was admitted into a room, I started having seizures. Like, my mom counted about 10 of them, and it was very bizarre because I do have a history of seizures, but I've never had enough to be medicated for them. It's just a few and far between. But the very first 2 seizures I ended up having, I was conscious for them in the beginning. And I remember my fiance was in the room with me, and he saw me starting to have a seizure, and he's like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And was sitting there like, "I'm moving my arm, see?" And like he was like, "You're having a seizure," and he literally goes out in the hallway and he yells, "She's having a seizure in here, guys!" And nurses come flying in, and that's the last thing I remember before my mom and my fiance switch out because my mom is my power of attorney or my medical power of attorney. So she comes in and trades spots with him, and then I have another one, and she's standing right next to my bed, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I say yes, and then I pass out, and that is literally the last thing I remember. All of the memories that I have are few and far between. Like I remember them trying to hydrate me by putting a wet sponge in my mouth, and I kept thinking it was and I really liked it. I remember liking it, but I thought it was a toothbrush. So I'm like, "Hey, can you brush my teeth?" And I kept asking if my mom could brush my teeth for me. And that was one of the last memories I have of being in there. And then I do remember talking to a doctor there and a nurse, and I really don't remember much of it. I do remember it being a slightly negative experience. I don't know if I was upset or if I was mad or they were just frustrating me or what was going on. I think they were asking me if I could move my arm at all, and I'm just sitting there like, no, I cannot move my arm. I do not have function of my left arm. And that's like literally the last memory that I have. And then I ended up waking up, and I'm assuming they at this point I woke up in a different room, and I'm assuming they like put me in like in like the a like neuro like hall or neuro ward or whatever, like someplace like for people who have like migraines, headaches, like strokes, seizures, something like that. And I'm assuming I'm in the same hospital. So I wake up, kind of like get up, look around, observe my surrounding, and lay back down and go to sleep. And then the next thing I know, I'm woken up by a nurse, and she's like, "Oh, so how are you? Do you know where you are?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm at hospital 3, and it's Tuesday." And she's like, "Oh no, you're at hospital 4 now, and it's Thursday." So basically, I had been asleep for like a good 2 days at that point, and I woke up in a completely different hospital, and I was completely shocked, obviously, but like I wasn't like too heavily shocked because I was still on some meds. Like they put me on meds for my seizures. They finally got them under control, luckily, but I had it was a bizarre experience, because this is about the end of the experience. I woke up that Thursday, and then I was progressively getting better and better and better. And then Monday came around, like the next day, and or not the next day, like this upcoming Monday. So I was in the hospital, like these two hospitals, for about a week, and or these three hospitals, I should say, for about a week. And luckily I am better now. Obviously, by the time I got out, my legs were completely fine. I did not need any physical therapy for my legs. I did need occupational therapy for fine motor functions in my hand. I luckily got all of that. That's actually where I got this silly putty from, that like I just need to play with it with my left hand every once in a while. But that's pretty much the substantiary portion of my stroke story. Um, I do kind of understand what's going on, like how it was caused. I really don't entirely remember why. People kept telling me, and obviously I kept forgetting. Like either I was unconscious or I was, not fully into it. I do know that I had undiagnosed Graves' disease, and then I have a gene mutation that makes estrogen in my body clot my blood, or like an excess amount of estrogen clot my blood. And at the time I was on the pill, so that extra amount of estrogen and my thyroid not functioning properly both caused my brain to both have a clot and then bleed. Yeah, I had a blood clot behind my eye, and like it was in my temporal lobe on the right side, so it was like behind my eye in my temple. And at that point, like there was a blood clot, and then it burst because it was blocking the blood from flowing that severely that it just burst, and my brain started to have a bleed. And I'm assuming what the pain was from was the bleed itself, and like the initial pain from, like, Memorial Day was the blood clot forming, or it was, obviously there. But yeah, both of those things were the cause of my stroke. If you guys, like, I know I probably left a whole lot of detail out that you probably want to know. This is all that I really remember. I was thinking about making a script for this, but like I said, I don't really remember much because A, stroke, B, memory, and C, it was probably traumatic. So my brain probably blocked out a lot of that information. So if you guys have any questions, I will try to make a part 2 to this video if you guys want. And don't forget to go down to my gaming channel and my Twitch. Feel free to follow if you would like. And yeah, this is how I became a stroke survivor at 23. I'm 24 now, by the way. But yeah, that's all I got for you. Have a good day, everybody.